Well, duh.
This all began with Ryan Larkin. Turns out that sleep in the military is terrible across the board. This report indicates how much it affects our emotional and mental health stability. So I went to the University of California, San Diego, where I wrote a paper about environmental effects on sleep. Then I began to dig deeper. That's when I created the world's first military sleep pod. And after about 6 proposals to the government, we decided to put this on the shelf and continue our research in the civilian sector. That's when we turned to the yoga pod design. A fully immersive sleep pod that controls light, sound, and temperature, just like our research. Perfect for the average person or the wary traveler, anybody who needs to get rest. We're nearly complete with the yoga pod, but in the meantime, we're coming out with what's called the Yoga Sleep Node. This device uses everything we learned from all of our research to go into your bedroom and help you get the best sleep of your life. It also works in your children's bedroom or in a yoga studio. Last year we went into production. Now, we're finally getting to the point where we're ready to go to market. To find out more about the Exist Tribe and Yoga Sleep Node mission, go to www.existtribe.com. Thank you. This all began with Ryan Larkin. Turns out that sleep in the military is terrible across the board. This report indicates how much it affects our emotional and mental health stability. So I went to the University of California, San Diego, where I wrote a paper about environmental effects on sleep. Then I began to dig deeper. That's when I created the world's first military sleep pod. And after about 6 proposals to the government, we decided to put this on the shelf and continue our
Well, duh.
What's up, guys? Max here, back with a brand new episode of the ScuttleButt Show. And today is going to be an episode like you've never seen one before. We're going to be talking about sleep in a way that hasn't been talked about maybe ever for you, but it probably should have been a long time ago. And as a bonus, I want you guys to know, top link in the description down below for the EventBrite where you can sign up. If you haven't signed up already, if you're here just because you normally come to my channel, go down, sign up for the EventBrite, because if you do, you have a chance to win great prizes, including t-shirts or the brand new product, the Yoga Sleep Node, from our panel today at Exist Tribe. And we're going to be giving you tips and tricks for better sleep. We're going to talk about sleep in the military, the science behind sleep, the brand new product, the Yoga Sleep Node, and how to become a part of Exist Tribe and this movement that they have going on. And I have a great panel for you guys today as well. So let's jump over and get this conversation started. So let me first introduce our panel here, starting with Rob Sweetman. Rob is the founder and CEO. Rob, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Joined the Navy, let's see, back in 2010, did 8 years in the SEAL teams, got out in 18, finished my MBA, saw a real problem with sleep. And so we created this company, Exist Tribe, and I can dig into more of that later. Thanks, Max.
Yep, and we'll just go as people are seeing everybody on the screen here. So Terry, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, thanks, Max. Terry Quinn, I'm the operations and supply chain guy for Exist Tribe, and just happy to be part of the team.
Awesome, thank you. And we've got Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker, who's been a guest on the show before. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, my AK name, Johnny Walker. I used to work with American Forces, more than 1,000 mission. Immigrant to United States 2009, and from that time I'm living my dream.
Awesome, thank you, Johnny. Janelle, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you.
Hi, yeah, I'm Janel Norton. I'm the yoga and iRest, or guided meditation yoga nidra specialist. I basically put people to sleep.
Awesome, very important job. Joselyne, can you please introduce yourself? Joselyne, you might be muted.
I am muted. Hi, Joselyne Williams. I am the CFO. I am the numbers person. I don't put people to sleep, but I help them get to sleep.
Awesome. And then Dr. Gaurav Mishra, if you want to introduce yourself real quick for us.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, hi, my name is Dr. Mishra. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm an advisor for Exist Tribe, and I and Robert did our MBA together. That's how we know each other. But this is such an important mission that and very closely related to something I do every day clinically, as helping people sleep better. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for being here. And we have Sadie here as well. And Sadie, if you want to introduce yourself really quick, Sadie's going to be running the raffle, which makes you guys get signed up via the EventBrite in the description, top link, so you can be eligible for the win.
Hi, I am Sadie, and I am the lucky sister of Rob.
Awesome. Yes, we're all lucky to be sitting here knowing Rob. That is for sure true. Speaking of Rob, Rob, would you want to tell us a little bit about the Exist Tribe mission, impact, the product, and the 62 Romeo Challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. So this whole thing started with my own sleep deprivation, my own issues with sleep in the teams, and I just wanted to make an impact in sleep health. At the time, I didn't really know how bad sleep was in my own life and across the military. But as I started to do more research and unpack the problem, I learned that it really is a big deal to a ton of people. And so I thought this would be a great way to spend the next chapter of my life after the military. And so a lot of volunteer hours. I think we're almost at 4 years now with this mission. And so a lot of it's been education. But if any of you who know me, I'm kind of a nerd. And so, we've always been sitting in the back tinkering on technology that could potentially help sleep. And so it took a lot of research, and we came up with this sleep pod originally for the military, tried to run that to ground with government proposals, but they prefer to do business with larger companies that already are established. After that, I think in 2018, we pivoted to a civilian model where we would build a pod that might go in an airport or a sports center or something that somebody who really wanted to get perfect sleep could enjoy. We did the whole pitching and competition circuit and did really well. But we're still working on that. So like a year ago, we decided, what can we do to make an impact sooner? How do we take what we learned from the university and put it into something that the average person can use, and it's not crazy expensive like a sleep pod? And that's when we came up with the Yoga Sleep Node. The Yoga Sleep Node is basically just, a light and sound machine on steroids. But it is a smart home device. It integrates with other things in your house. And it turns out that it's incredibly powerful. So we're really excited about it. Terry is leading a pilot study that we're going to kick off in a couple of months to show the effectiveness and publish that information. But here today, I just want to share some of our findings and some of our stories and see if anybody can connect with that.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of great stories to share. Maybe this would be a good time to get Johnny to jump in and talk about his experience with sleep and maybe expand upon your role with the Navy overseas and talk about your role with combat and sleep.
So actually at the beginning of my job with Navy SEAL, my issue is not the sleeping. My issue is just to survive. And we put it in the survive mode, and the things helping us is doing the right things and helping innocent people, all this kind of things. So sleeping is important items in my life, but because we are so tired, we don't have time to struggle with the sleep. But for more than 1,000 mission, I start effect every day with the sleep matter time, like issues, struggling. I want to sleep. I have mission. If I don't have enough time, I will miss something, and one of the guys' life is going to be risked. So anyway, thanks God, everything goes well. Moved to United States in 2009, and this is kind of my dream. Moving from shithole to country of my dream is one of the best things happened to me and my family, and live that dream every day. Honestly, the first couple of years, I didn't want to close my eyes. I just want to travel. I just want to see this country. I just want to feel it. I didn't have that problem, but the problem came when my brain tricked me to start to drink to get better sleep. And that is where I have issue every day. So when I get a drink, I wake up whatever, next day I struggling health-wise, focusing in my job, my book, my speech, all these kind of things. And 2020, I went for a special program for Navy SEAL, and I quit to drink and smoke from that time. But still, I'm facing sleeping issue within, when I wake up, anytime I cannot go back to sleep. I try to trick myself, my brain, with watch some technology device, do some walking, do something, but didn't work. I'm all about to see this new things. Maybe it's going to help me out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I mean, a couple of things that you said that really resonate with me, and I'm sure with a lot of people in there, trying to trick your brain, trying to, drinking. I can relate to that big time. And I know a lot of people can. I've talked to a lot of people about, they need a bottle of Jack to go to sleep at night, or a bottle of Johnny to go to sleep at night. Janel, do you have anything you want to add here kind of on what Johnny said about getting to sleep, about quality of sleep and what we can do and why we should be focusing on that?
Yes, absolutely. So I spent 5 years in the Air Force, and then I did 2 years in the United Nations in Bosnia, and I came back and had sleep problems too, did the same thing. I think we all kind of default to the whole little nightcap to get us to sleep, but it doesn't really give us good sleep at all. And later in life, I ended up finding yoga, went to a couple of hot power yoga classes, and I started sleeping really well. Yoga can help us deactivate the stress system in the body through movement and through breath. And then I started learning more about it and got into the guided meditation practices, which is really good for the hamster that's in the wheel that never stops. And most of us, a lot of people say, I can't meditate because I can't make that hamster stop. That's pretty much 99% of us. So the guided meditation will give us a little bit of an anchor for the mind to attach to. And you can use your own body's regulatory system, your breath and body sensing and things like that. You can do this to fall asleep or when you wake up in the middle of the night to go back to sleep. So, yeah.
Really quick, I just want to remind everybody who's joined since we've started, thank you for being here. And if you haven't already, check the EventBrite link in the description because in 5 minutes, we're going to close the raffle for the prizes. So if you haven't already clicked the EventBrite link in the description, do that. Get yourself registered so you're eligible for the prize drawing at the end. As a reminder, too, you have to be present to win the prize. You have to claim it in the chat. So don't miss that opportunity. And Janel, just a follow-up question there really quick. I feel like when I talk to people about this, when I was getting out of the Navy, I was talking to, as part of the transition program, all these senior retired, Master Chief Navy SEALs, officers, Navy SEALs, Special Forces people who were talking about mindfulness and meditation. Is there any reason to have a stigma that maybe you're too tough or too manly for meditation or yoga? Or what can we do to kind of get more people to give that a shot? Because I feel like there might be a lot of barriers to entry there.
Yeah, it's finally starting to catch on. I know the special operations community, like the Brian Bill Foundation and people like that serve our combat warriors coming home are all on board with the guided meditation and yoga. I always say, people say I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible enough. And I just say, well, that's like saying you're too dirty to take a shower. You just have to do it. I think it'll get better. We found a lot too, that when people come back, especially our Vietnam veterans, I found they were coming in after 30 years and then they would retire and they would be like, I don't know why I was fine 30 years after Vietnam. And then I retired from my job and now I can't sleep and all these things are coming up. So using these techniques, trying to get us to sleep through breath and body movement, things like that, will help process some of those memories. And something such as the sleep node is a really good tool that can help deliver that desensitizing of the stress system in the body.
Yeah, it almost seems like from talking to people that have, not dealt with their demons, so to speak, just put it simply, it's almost like we can bury these problems, but they're buried under a spring, and that spring wears down over time, so they're coming back up, and it just seems like it's only a matter of time until you have to actually deal with these things for real. And mindfulness, meditation, yoga are all great ways to kind of peacefully, calm yourself and think about these issues. So thank you for sharing that. I want to invite anybody else from the panel to jump in and talk about this stuff. If you would like to, Joselyne, Kristian, Sadie, Terry, does anybody else want to jump in here real quick?
Well, yeah, I'll jump in real quick unless anybody else has anything. And I just wanted to, share that this is not a one-off problem that a couple of us have. The RAND did a study on military sleep, and their findings were pretty startling. I'll read a little excerpt out of it right here. It says, data suggests that sleep problems are prevalent, debilitating, and persistent in service member populations post-deployment period. Consistent with civilian population, the most common diagnosed sleep disorders include insomnia and obstructive sleep apnea. And, it's not just this report. We see it across every branch, across every type of unit, even the ship collisions, the John McCain and the Fitzgerald. If you guys remember, I believe it was 19 sailors died on those two Navy ships from avoidable collisions. And after the investigation was done, it was found to be sleep. People were sleep deprived. They were running skeleton crews and they were tired and they made a mistake. And that, those kids are never coming home. And they didn't die in combat, so to speak. And so it's just a shame when stuff like that happens. But one of the leading thought processes on, folks coming back from combat, right? So if we look at folks that have been to combat, on deployment, downrange, and they come back, what they're finding is that the amygdala within the brain becomes hyperactive. And this might cause hypervigilance, but it definitely causes a heightened sense of fight or flight. And there tends to be a battle between the prefrontal, right here in your brain, where you have cognitive thinking, sorting through your thoughts and making good decisions, but less reactive, like the amygdala. Now, the truth is, we have to, right? As military service members, that amygdala response saves our lives. It is our situational awareness. It's our attention to detail. It's that constantly being on edge. But does that aid us when we come back home, when we're trying to settle into a normal life and our spouses? It becomes challenging. And so it's almost like the amygdala has been in the gym pumping iron for years after military service. And so there's a bit of work that can be done. But a lot of folks don't even know what right looks like. They don't know how they should feel. They don't know what sleep should look like. And so that's part of why we're doing sleep impact talks like this, because we want to talk about what right looks like and help people with steps to get there.
Dr. Mishra, do you have anything you want to add on that?
Yes, definitely. I think, I remember right from the start of my training in psychiatry, in 2009, where I did a lot of my training in the VA in Detroit and with active duty and veteran individuals. Right from then to now working in San Diego, I've seen that sleep has such a huge impact in everyday life and everyday functioning. And when I look at it from a perspective of mental illness or even physical illness and recovery from that, sleep is probably one of the most important factors that can impact that. So, when I and Robert first started, we met in MBA school and first started talking, and he talked about this mission he had. It related so closely to the work I was doing every day in the clinic, talking to my patients every single day. Each patient talked about sleep and how improvement of sleep can impact whether you have depression, whether you have anxiety, whether it's PTSD or any other form of mental illness. The improved sleep can have such a huge impact. And something that Johnny Walker and almost everybody on the panel has touched upon is, right, a lot of people don't know what is the right way to go about it. Often we fall into ways to tackle the sleep by using alcohol, at night to try to fall asleep, or using caffeine in the morning to compensate for not sleeping well. But these are really not sustainable ways of having great functioning during the day, right? And also alcohol obviously actually makes you sleep worse than before. So I think that's some piece of education that a lot of people need. And even though it's out there, not everybody connects it to their own life. So I'm glad this is something we're talking about how people can actually change their habits and change their lifestyle to make a difference long term.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting how we all kind of on our own work out the same wrong choices and we have to make those same mistakes. It always seems like, because, when you said physical health, what kind of physical health problems can lack of sleep cause?
I think, physical health, there's definitely a direct correlation between poor sleep and hypertension. There's a correlation with cardiovascular disease. In general, if you're poor, practically speaking, if you're not sleeping well, your ability to manage any chronic illness that one may have, whether it's diabetes, hypertension, or cardiovascular disease, is not at the optimal best. I think focus is very significantly impacted, which then results in, people have falls, people have motor vehicle accidents. There's so many impacts of poor sleep that I think, I know from the medical fraternity also, there are residents who have actually died on the way from their call overnight going home because they've not slept all night, working all night. So I think just the lack of sleep can have so many varied impacts that, it makes a difference.
Yeah. Rob, there was if I can ask you a question real quick, there was a comment in the chat from Justin about how the military, there's a dichotomy within the military of, on one hand, they tell you must sleep 8 hours. It's by the book, by the guidelines. If you don't sleep 8 hours, you're not allowed to do your job, but they'll work you until you have about 30 minutes of sleep to get, and then send you on to your next tasking. You were in the SEAL teams, and Johnny, you were deployed with the SEALs, famously anti-sleep. Like it's one of the hallmarks of the SEAL teams is the legendary Hell Week and the training and the sleep deprivation all throughout the training. Do you think that conditioned you to resist sleep until this problem was so in your face that you couldn't deny it anymore?
Well, all right. So there's nothing good about sleep deprivation. And, you know, it's critical to memory formation. Without it, there's several processes within our body and in our brain that can't occur. And if they don't, we're seeing lots of reports about, you know, plaque buildup in the brain, leading to all kinds of things like Alzheimer's. And then there's Dr. Pearl came out with all of his research on astroglial scarring from blast exposure, which is really a different kind of TBI. So, you know, I think that guys and gals too, but guys in the SEAL teams feel like after they've been through Hell Week and they've been up for a whole week that they are able to do that again, and that that's healthy or that's okay, or they can operate on missions. And they do sleep deprived, but after 20 hours of being awake, you have the same cognitive performance as a 0.08 blood alcohol content, which is legally drunk in most places. So, you know, then you hit 24 hours, and I know folks have operated for days. So you'll hear some people say, oh, I don't need sleep. And I think that they can force themselves to sleep deprive. I don't doubt that at all. And some people say that, you know, it's part of the training and they've just been trained that way. But the data is out. The research shows what that does to you. And in fact, most people in the United States are not sleeping enough. I think a third of people are short sleeping, of course, according to the American. There's several different organizations that say the same thing, but short sleeping itself, if you're talking like 6 to 7 hours of sleep, can double your risk of heart disease. Dr. Matthew Walker said that. So the SEAL teams do not respect that directive. I think the only people in the military that respect that restriction is pilots, actually. So I don't know if you had some more to say on that, Johnny.
I lost my teeth, my broken shoulder, broken ribs, because we have a sniper mission. We back to the base, and we have to go again on the mission. And the driver, he's with me on that sniper mission for a couple of days. He couldn't sleep more than 2 hours, and we end up with a heavy accident. So yeah, it's impact our life. It's impact our quality as a professional warrior, and in civilian life too. Like imagine if you sleep 8 hours or enough time to sleep, deep sleep, you can be shiny, positive energy next day, and you can be creative. I'm not doctor, but I touch that things in my daily life. When I have enough sleep, I have good relationship with everyone. When I'm not, I just get mad or complain about everything. So
yeah, that's a really good point, and and I'm sorry to hear that story too about the Humvee accident. By the way, just as a reminder to everybody out there, talking about Johnny and kind of his story from Iraq, if you guys haven't had a chance to check out his book, Codename Johnny Walker, which is available out on Amazon in ebook and audiobook and paperback and form, I highly recommend it. And we've had him on the show before to talk about it. And it's an awesome read, so you guys should go check that out as well. Right now,
the movie's coming too, Max.
The movie is coming.
Yeah, so
that's great news. Congratulations. The movie is coming. Can't wait.
Thank you, Max. Thank you.
Rob, at this point, maybe you could tell us, because there's been some questions in the chat, and I feel like we've been talking about the dangers of sleep, and some people in the chat have asked, what is this yoga sleep node that we're kind of talking about here? Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about, if people want to know more about it, where can they go and get involved with Exist?
Yeah, so our website is existtribe.com. You can find more information on the Yoga Pod and the Yoga Sleep Node there. So what is the Yoga Sleep Node? Well, we picked out the best lights in the world based on our research into neurology and how the brain functions in terms of sleep. And it turns out that the retina and the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or the body clock as we call it, in the brain, it turns out that those two are connected directly and have a huge impact on your sleep function. So at nighttime, what we're seeing is that people are using their phones or their iPads and they get blue light exposure. Some people are wearing the blue blocker glasses, or they're trying to put a filter on the screen. But that blue light, that specific wavelength, it excites the retina in a particular way. And that normally happens during the day. And so at nighttime, when we normally, as humans, for the last million years, have been watching the sun go down, and that color temperature changes, and we don't see as much of that blue. Now we have all these digital devices in front of our faces. It excites the retina, and it can actually offset melatonin production. You can actually phase shift somebody's sleep cycle. They've done it in laboratories. There's dozens of studies that show this. So what we need to do is eliminate the blue light. So the first thing that we did with this product, and this product is designed completely out of science, by the way. We didn't try to put together some widget. We took what we learned from the Yoga Pod and at the University of California, and we put it into this product. So we searched out the best light we could find. This is an OLED light. It is manufactured here in the United States, and it has zero blue in it. It's the safest light in the world for your eyes. It's certified not to damage the cornea or the skin. And so we have this one light, and we call it an amber light, and it's absolutely soothing at nighttime. So that's the first light. Then what we discovered through research is that the body actually resets its circadian rhythm, and there's multiple circadian rhythms, but the sleep-wake circadian rhythm with that first morning light into the eye. So that's important. So we have a second light that's a full spectrum light, and so that's your alarm clock, so to speak. So you can wake up gently to this soft white light. Additionally, we put in a speaker. We did some physics where we designed the speaker box to have certain characteristics. So it's kind of like a Bose wave. We did the math, we figured it out. And so we're able to achieve phantom acoustics. But that's not it. This is actually a smart device. And so you connect to it with your app, and you can set up automation so this thing runs every day, but you can also integrate with other smart home devices. So you can connect to your sleep measurement device. You could connect to Nest thermostat. And so a lot of this stuff will be developing over the coming months, and we hope to have, tons of integrations by next year. But in essence, what this does is it automates your sleep routine. There's no drugs, no surgery, no medicine. We're totally against that. This is completely passive. Now, with that said, this is just a tool. It's a way for you to get on track with your sleep. But if folks are, if they're drinking themselves to sleep or they're using the drugs, there's only so much we can do to help out. But this is definitely a very good tool for the tool bag.
Yeah. Janel, maybe you can jump in here and talk about how one would work on getting to sleep and utilizing this thing to the maximum ability.
Well, like Rob said, there's going to be a whole bunch of things that are added to it, but I love the ideas that he's coming up with, such as a metronome of light, so that you can kind of watch you follow it with your breath. So, we're the only beings on this planet that can regulate our own breath. And that's really one of the best tools that you can use to slow down your heart rate, lower your blood pressure, soothe the nervous system. So, and he's going to have things integrated as far as, I think you'll be able to, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, you can choose guided meditations or any types of white noise or music. So all these things are just, you can channel through it and find what works for you. So it's not just one thing that it does. You can kind of dial around and see what works for your sleep habits.
Rob, is all that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We're able to capture some of those special frequencies, like 528 hertz, they said, is the frequency of love. And these things stimulate brain activity. It's measurable. So there's a bit about, like white noise, being able to block some of the external sound in your sleep environment. That's a huge benefit, because we know that sounds with peaks above 35 decibels can interrupt your sleep. You can measure it with an EEG or a EKG. So we included the audio piece, not just to have white noise or a thunderstorm, which is actually really nice, but you can also tune into a meditation series? Do you like an energizing meditation series in the morning? Or is that not your thing and you want to use the lighting metronome to be able to practice your breathing? All of these things aid in calming the mind, being aware of your surroundings and present. But also we hope to engage with people on a different level because this is a smart device. Like you asked before, that 62 Romeo challenge. It's a challenge, it's a program. Basically, it's a 6-week program where we engage directly with our users and we help them get on track using this. So we'll do like a 1-hour session on sleep knowledge, and we talk about some of the points of performance, sleep hygiene, stuff like that. But then people get to use this and learn how to use it. And the goal here is to establish a habit. And we know that after a month or 6 weeks, humans can establish a habit. And that's what we want to do for lasting benefits. And so that's something that we're going to kick off in the fall. We're already looking towards a pilot study that can do just that. I didn't know if you felt comfortable, Terry, talking about that for a second, or if all of that's top secret still.
No, as Rob was saying, we are getting in a position where we can do a 6-week study. And again, it'll be made up of people who will both use the device, but also get a week's worth of coaching. Again, Rob mentioned talking about sleep habits and different things that people should be doing, but primarily they'll be able to use the device and we'll be able to measure their sleep improvement over a 6-week time frame. And so again, kind of repeating what Rob said, but part of it is, how do we show that the device is actually working, which we know it will, but we really want to show that. But we also want to be able to show that people can change by developing the right sleep habits. So that's part of it as well, as there's a device that helps, but also being able to learn the habits that, again, both Rob and Janel have touched on. But we're pretty excited about being able to do this because we can parlay it into different studies and get it into different groups that can get it into the hands of people who can really use it.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's a great move that you guys are doing. And Justin in the chat said he wants one. So maybe if you're entered to win the raffle, hopefully you have a good chance of winning that prize. Maybe I can take a minute here to invite Dr. Mishra to talk about. So you've got the yoga, you've got the sleep node, you're working on your sleep. What are some mental health signs that it's working or that you need to do more? What kind of changes or experiences should one expect when they are either struggling with sleep or getting better sleep?
Right. Yeah. I think that's a great question. I think when so for example, when we are sort of evaluating somebody who is struggling with depression, anxiety, or post-traumatic stress disorder, we find that their symptoms are almost directly related to the quality of sleep they're getting. So say, for example, I have somebody who's struggling with severe depression. Their sleep is very interrupted. Typically in depression, they have difficulty falling asleep, they have difficulty staying asleep, and they also wake up early many days. So once you start treating the depression and you start treating the insomnia, what you find is that, say they start getting better sleep, their symptoms are much better controlled the following day. If you sleep better, your depression is less severe, you're less sad, you have more energy, we're able to get out and do more things, which are all the things which are almost the opposite of depression symptoms. You have more motivation to do things, you have more energy, you are able to focus on what you're trying to get done. If you think about anxiety, a lot of people who have struggles with anxiety or panic attacks, we find the level of anxiety they have during the day, how they feel in different stressful situations, their response is a lot better with improved sleep. So their baseline level of anxiety is significantly improved. The likelihood of them having a panic attack is significantly improved. And in most of these mental health diagnoses, our response to stress is skewed a lot away from a typical response because, the stress has a much larger impact on us when we already are struggling with poor sleep and other mental illness symptoms. So once sleep improves, your ability to respond to a particular stressor in your life is it's a lot better than otherwise. So you may be driving and you may be somebody who has very severe flashbacks from past trauma or very severe anxiety attacks. And if you've slept better, your response time is going to get better. You're going to have less panic attacks in those situations. So overall functioning significantly starts getting better the moment the sleep gets in order. And we talked about sleep habits as the first and the most important line of attack at that problem, because sleep habit is what is going to provide somebody sustained benefit now and for the future. So a lot of people feel discouraged because it takes a while to get there, but actually working on your sleep habits, something like a sleep note really would get you to a place with some time to have consistent good quality of sleep. And that can change your quality of life in every aspect, I think, more than maybe any other one intervention. I also like that you can program the sleep node more to your lifestyle, because all of us have sort of varied schedules now. I work with a lot of patients who work at night, whether in the military or otherwise. I can't tell them sleep at 10 p.m. because that just doesn't work for their life. I think just using the sleep node and using your sort of the time you have in the day to make a good schedule for yourself can go a long way. But getting the right amount of sleep can still have a huge impact.
That actually, what you said, Dr. Mishra, actually gave me an idea for a question for Janel. Maybe if I can put you on the spot for a second here, which is maybe people out there will resonate with this. I am a tech addict, and I find myself in bed. It's time to go to sleep, but my sleep ceremony includes watching videos on the internet, on Instagram or TikTok before going to sleep. That can't be good. So my question is, what can I do to either put the phone down, or is there a way the phone can be a benefit here? Like, I know it can incorporate with the yoga sleep node, but what can I do today with my phone, if there is anything, that I could actually, instead of going on TikTok, I could use it to help me?
There's so many apps out there with guided meditation practices that are free. There's free ones out there like Insight Timer and those kinds of things. I think incorporating it, making your sleep hygiene kind of like right before you go to bed, what do you usually do? You brush your teeth, you put on your jammies, it's like this routine that happens, and you're kind of subconsciously letting your body know, okay, I'm winding down, it's time to go to sleep. So I think just adding in even 5 minutes of just sitting and just counting your breath, inhaling for a count of 4, exhaling for a count of 8. You can do that for maybe 20 rounds one night and just notice a little shift, and you might feel like a little more relaxed. And you can incorporate that into your sleep hygiene at night instead of getting on TikTok. Just sitting with yourself, not your phone, might be a good idea.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try that, and I'll live stream it for everybody. No, I'm just kidding. So I'd like to invite anybody else to jump in here who has anything they'd like to add to this conversation. Joselyne, Dr. Mishra, Johnny, Sadie, Kristian, anybody who wants to add anything in, go ahead and please do so now.
Well, so to tag on to that, when we're talking about habits, and interrupt me if anybody else wants to jump in, but, caffeine consumption is a big prohibitor of good sleep, because we know that it has a half-life of, 5 to 7 hours. And so if you drink that in the morning, then you may see that wear off in the afternoon. But if you have a coffee in the evening or after dinner or something like that, let's say that you have dinner and then you have a cup of coffee after a big dinner around 7:30. It's going to be like 1:30 in the morning before that caffeine starts to dissipate. And caffeine it connects to the same receptors as adenosine, which is the sleepiness modulator that builds up throughout the day, makes you sleepy. So you may feel a little bit more awake, and those processes that need to occur while you're sleeping, like cleaning the brain, don't occur as quickly, or they're a little bit slowed. And so caffeine just destroys your sleep. And so part of that behavioral routine, and I saw Justin on there, was mentioning sanitize your sleep hygiene. I love that. That's just it. You know, you got to get your sleep hygiene right, because and a lot of people don't want to take it seriously until they have to. But if you're drinking caffeine after 3 p.m. in the afternoon, you're just asking for trouble. So
in that case, I'm begging for it. So I need to probably work on that too. So Joselyne, we haven't heard too much from you, but I'd like to ask you a question, because you're educated, double MBA, if that's correct, accounting, worked in raising capital for companies and managing money. And I heard that you understand something about the impact of sleep on the economy as we know it. And if you could maybe discuss that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So during just my education time, I was getting like 4 hours of sleep, getting my double MBA in accounting and finance, and studying for the CPA exam and all of that. So I definitely understand the impact of sleep and the importance of that. I think one of the biggest things that brought me to Exist Tribe, though, is the mission and what we're trying to do. So my grandfather was at Pearl Harbor when it was attacked, and I had family and friends who were in Desert Storm. So I was in 29 Palms when the troops came back. And so I saw the impact of all of that time there, not only on friends and family. So I think the mission and values that we have at Exist Tribe is extremely important to me in different levels. But from a personal level, just as a professional, if you will, you know, adults ages 26 to 64 need around 7 to 9 hours on average. In the US, we're getting about 5.5 hours of sleep. So when I look at that number and what that says to me from a finance person, right, we're getting $63 billion in lost productivity, which is huge. And that's because we're sleep deprived. We're not able to function at our highest ability. And so the tool that we have with the Sleep Node provides in kind of like a one-stop shop is, you know, it helps with the lighting. It helps getting you in that mode that Janel talked about in your sleeping pattern, and it helps to guide you to sleep and gives you that process to really get that needed sleep that we need to be more productive and more alert during the day. And so that, I guess, at the end of the day is probably the biggest thing for me, because as a US, we're at 55% adults feel stressed every day, and that's a lot of stress and a lot of sleep deprivation. So trying to impact that in a positive way is what we're doing.
And is that how it kind of rolls over into affecting economic issues, like people are having somehow worse decisions or worse management, or what is the connection there?
Well, the connection would be the fact that you're not, to what Dr. Mishra talks about, is you're not making the same decision you would make if you had a better night's sleep, right? So you may choose a different scenario and outcome if you had a better night's sleep. And so providing the tools to get that every night is huge. And what we're able to do to not only impact from a dollar perspective, but just from a quality of life perspective, I think is huge as well.
I think this is probably a conversation for another day, but I think what you said opens up a whole other conversation about the economy of sleep, because you have to budget your time, you have to budget your hours, and you have to look at the impact and return on investment of sleep. And there's probably a whole nother, 10,000 hours of conversation we could have on that.
No, absolutely. Rob and I were talking the other day just about, so in the Sleep Node, we have different tools. We have the sound machine, we have the lighting machine. We also have the app that connects to your phone. So it's kind of like an all-in-one tool. But if you were to go out into the marketplace and get all of those, you're spending X amount of dollars on each one of those. And so I think what we're seeing, sorry, that would be Zeus incorporating his 2 cents, is in the US, right? We're spending billions of dollars on trying to get quality of sleep because we recognize the importance of it as consumers and how we can get better sleep in general. So we're willing to shell out those dollars because we recognize the impact of quality of sleep and what it's going to do for us the next day in our daily job and our daily tasks. So I do think we may have series 2 on the impact of sleep. We could do a whole economics presentation, and I can bring some more numbers for you if you want it.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. we can do that. We can make this a regularly scheduled event, which we might do. Rob, there was a question in the chat about shift work. Did you say you wanted to address that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge deal with the military. Shift work, it destroys your circadian rhythm, synchronicity, and we're supposed to be in sync with the earth and the sun, and that's how we how we stay in that 24-hour cycle. It's interesting because they've done a lot of studies where people will go into a doctor or will have a study on circadian rhythms and go into a dark cave or some area without light, and the assumption was that we would continue to have the same circadian rhythm. But what happens is our own natural circadian rhythm as a human, as an organic thing, is never 24 hours. And the average for humans we now know is about 24 and a half, but some people are as high as 30 hours. So you get into this routine of a 30-hour day without that sunlight setting your rhythm. And so that's very important to be able to keep that connection with the earth. And what we're doing with shift work, and I think World Health Organization, for what it's worth, called out shift work as a probable carcinogen, meaning it will probably cause cancer. So all those shift workers out there, nurses or physicians, that's terrible news. But to Justin's question about, how do we battle shift work, and does this yoga sleep node help? Well, I mean, that's what Dr. John Cordell and I have been pitching for the last few years to the Navy, is that, these folks have these terrible watch cycles, and they're on the ship, which relates to shift work for nurses and other shift work people very similarly. But it's even worse for the Navy because a lot of times they'll get stuck on a 5 and dime, which means that you have a certain amount of time on watch and a certain amount of time off on leisure time, and it never lines up with a 24-hour period. And so, and Max, maybe you can talk to that a little bit, but I've never had the opportunity to serve on a ship, but that destroys, you have multiple circadian rhythms, and when they're completely off sync, you start to see terrible issues. And so now, John Cordell has, was assisted in authoring that instruction for the 24-hour watch cycle for ships ever since that 2017, those 2 ship collisions. And so now here we are, okay, we have a 24-hour protected period, but we still have the issue of the individual working out of sync with the sun and the earth and all that. And so what we're able to do with the yoga sleep node is we are emitting the right frequencies of light to be able to give the body the signals it needs to go through the processes that it normally would in a regular scenario, even if you're on shift work. So, and that's part of the mission here, right? You should be able to get healthy sleep no matter how off kilter your shift may be. So I hope that answers your question, Justin.
I'll, you talked about ships a little bit. I'll just add something really quick, which is ships land, I've had a broad experience in the Navy. The military just has no mercy when it comes to sleep. You'll work 8 hours. You'll have watch for 6 hours. You'll have 24-hour watches. And there's little you can do about it because you're talking about the highest stakes, life and death. And you're talking about a world in which, as we say in the military, the enemy gets a say, right? So it'd be great if it was up to you how many hours of sleep you could get a night or how much time you could spend out in the heat or the cold. but it's not, because the enemy gets a say. And what I tell people all the time is your time in the military is limited. It's limited by law. It's limited by doctrine. You can't, for most people, it's not going to last longer than 12 to 15 years on an average. And that means you've got much more life ahead of you than the life behind you post Navy service. And that's why this subject is so important to me. And I understand why it's so important to you guys, because we have to reset to get ourselves back on track and deal with the inner conflict that the military causes, whether it's post-traumatic stress or that always on feeling, the lack of sleep, the shift work. All of these things compile. And not only that, you know, they stack. And so these things stack in the military, and anything that we can do to re-normalize and normalize breathing and meditation and mindfulness and dealing with our problems and not being able to express ourselves as another example of a problem is extremely helpful to getting veterans on track for success later in life. That's all I'll add about that. And if anybody,
I have something, Max.
Please, Johnny.
So, yeah. So with all the technology, with all the complicated life we're facing stress, and we're going away from our social life with our family. I mean, you can tell in my house, we sit like 5-6 person, me, my wife, my kids, everyone in his phone, and all that things is take us away from organic sleep. We have to have it. We used to have it before. Like, I love the Amish life. Look at them. They have no problem with sleeping wise. They sleep, soon the sun goes down, and they wake up soon the sunrise. So I'm hoping that project give us our social life back by give us deeper sleep, healthy sleep, and we have our social life. Because if you look at it, everything now, because of capitalism, everything suck your time and your money from your pocket, but no one established something to empower the need. We have it in our bodies. So I hope and I wish this project is going to give us something we miss. Thank you.
No, Johnny, thank you, because you brought up a great point. And I can't remember if Rob and I spoke about this last time, but the hustle, as we maybe all have heard it called, is killing people. The hustle, the grind, whatever you want to call it, it's killing people. And the question, I mean, I live in Japan, huge problem in Japan. People are working themselves literally to death, and they're not having children, and they're not getting married. They're just working to death at a young age. And in that, you know, along with that, we're talking dependency on substances too, because you just fall into this dangerous cycle of, you know, you're working, you're fatigued, you're drinking. These things all tend to go together. They universally, I've lived in the United States, I've lived in Japan, I've been all around the world. These things know no bounds. They affect everybody. And it seems like they always we all do the same bad things, which is crazy. And so this mission to kind of readjust, it's great. And anything I can do for Exist and the mission here, I'm happy to do it. We're coming up, I just want to say we're coming up on, it's about 18:55 back in Pacific time. Rob, what do you think about we announced the results of this raffle?
Yeah, let's kick it over to Sadie. Sadie, if you have all of the people who registered, I don't think everybody's on here now, but we can go ahead and spin our name wheel of names raffle and start selecting people.
Oh, this is very exciting. Sadie, you can share your screen with us if you want to, however you want to do it. You can just announce it, but just to let everybody know what's going on, we've got correct me if I'm wrong here, we've got an internet-based randomizer that's going to randomly select winners for this raffle, starting with the t-shirts and ending with the yoga sleep note. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Correct. So let's give away, oh, sorry, Sadie.
If you want to enable share screen.
Oh, here we go. Stand by for technical difficulties. Is that something that you requested?
Host disabled.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me figure it out. Let's see. Everybody's waiting to win their prize, and I'm holding it up. Let's see. If anybody,
we're going to give away 5 t-shirts, just like what I'm wearing. we'll, you need to claim it in the chat, and then I'll get with you after the show and send it directly to you. And then we're also going to give away a yoga sleep node. So we'll throw you on the list for first delivery. So that's pretty exciting because at retail, I think these things are going for $400. So
let's go ahead and start with the t-shirts while I try to figure out the enable sharing screen. And if so that way I don't hold us up. And if I don't figure it out, then we will just have to proceed because I don't want to hold us up too long here with my inability to use Zoom. Drop it in the chat if you know how to fix our problems.
I'll go ahead and roll.
Excellent.
I'm going to be the winner. I know.
Johnny's coming in hot for the win. I wish I had the sound effect.
Do we have a Reed S in chat?
Is Reed S in the chat? Reed S. Roger up if you're in the chat. I will post the winners.
Going once, going twice.
And give it.
Call it out in the chat. We'll move on.
That might be our new, recent best ranger buddy. He might be there. Reed, are you around?
We're still waiting. No word yet from Reed.
Uh-oh. Ranger up, man.
Uh-oh. Well, I don't see anything.
All right. I think we got to move on, huh?
All right. Well, we'll move on. If Reed Rogers up before the last drawing, then maybe we can get him in there. Sadie, if you're ready, let's roll on to the next winner.
How about Heather J?
Heather J. Heather J. I just dropped Heather J into the chat. If you're there, please Roger up so we can get you as a winner. Justin said maybe he fell asleep. I hope not.
Reed did just text me. He said he's on there, but he wasn't able to comment.
Okay, so we got Reed. So Reed claimed his. Now Heather. So Reed claimed his. So one down. Let's see if Heather Rogers up. Nothing so far.
All right.
How about Richard M?
Richard M. Is Richard M out there? Richard M. Do we have Richard M in the chat? If you're out there, please Roger up. Richard M.
David's saying that they don't have chat.
I don't know why they wouldn't. If they're watching on YouTube, they should. Oh, but if they're watching on EventBrite, they might not.
Can you watch it on EventBrite?
I'm not sure.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, we'll see. If Richard M reaches out to, if you heard your name here and we didn't hear from you, so we went on, please email me at thescuttlebuttshow@gmail.com and we'll figure it out.
Absolutely.
But let's try to go on to the next one, which would be our fourth T-shirt, I believe. Let's see. Sadie, can you try to share your screen again?
How about Victoria L?
Victoria L. Victoria L. Is she out there? Oh, here we go. We got the screen share.
There we go.
Screen share is working. So now we can see. We can see everybody's name on it. Wow, look at all those names. That's awesome. And a great logo, everything. Oh, this is fantastic. I'm glad we'll have this up for the big Sleep Node raffle coming up here in a moment.
That's right.
So we had Victoria L. Let's see. A Bloom says no chat is available on EventBrite. Okay, so if they're watching on EventBrite, they might not have the chat feature available. If you're watching on YouTube, you do. So if just email me at thescuttlebuttshow@gmail.com, or we'll give you the email for Exist as well. Rob, what's your email real quick?
Rob@existtribe.com.
So you can reach Rob at existtribe.com. Okay, so I didn't hear from Victoria. Maybe she's watching on EventBrite. Sadie, if you want to, we can go ahead and try to raffle the next prize.
All right.
I hope we get somebody who's in the chat. Is that Paul M?
Oh,
Yes.
Paul M is on the team. He doesn't count. We need a re-roll.
Ah, okay. Do it. Let's go. Let's
I
get
mean, but how cool is the wheel and the confetti? I mean,
It's
that's
so
pretty
cool.
awesome.
It is so cool. Sadie, great job.
Kaushal, my buddy Kaushal, are you out there?
Kaushal T. Let's see. Yes, I see some people are switching over to YouTube from EventBrite. Donald Sweetman switched over to YouTube for the same reason of the chat. So, which I assume is a relative of yours, Rob. So we might be missing some people onto the EventBrite chat issue. I think Paul said he has to. Yes, Paul said he has to pass. I think that's Paul.
Paul has as many yoga sleep nodes as he wants. And I want to give a shout out to Paul too, because he's been doing fantastic work on the software programming for the yoga sleep node.
Awesome.
So, thanks, Paul.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you. So we know Paul is a part of the team too. So, okay. So Kaushal, so is that the 5 t-shirts? Should we maybe do one backup t-shirt or something like that? Because I feel like we might hear from the EventBrite folks that they want their t-shirts.
Yeah, absolutely. We have plenty of t-shirts, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. So we can go maybe spin one more for a t-shirt.
Do it. We need to get the audio for this next time.
Yeah, I know. We need the click, click, click sound. Brian W. Am I seeing that correctly?
All right.
Brian W. So we'll see if Brian Rogers up in the chat here. And then, Rob, I'll let you correct me if I'm wrong here, but we'll be raffling off. Tell everyone really quick before we do it where they can go to get involved, to pre-order their yoga sleep node before we raffle off the big grand prize. Let's plug everything that we need to plug. So while we have everyone's attention here.
Yeah, absolutely. So go to www.existtribe.com and you can find out about the Yoga Pod and the Yoga Sleep Node. We're going to market with the Yoga Sleep Node very, very soon. We're in the final stages of refining it. And so what we're offering here is a free yoga sleep node. These are going to retail for $400. So it's a great opportunity. So hope for everybody's who was on the EventBrite and wasn't able to chat has switched over to the chat for this. So we can do this final roll and see who gets it.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited. Johnny Walker, his book, codename Johnny Walker, available anywhere you buy or listen to books. Johnny, thank you for being here today.
Of course, man. Thank you so much.
Congrats on the movie coming out. I hope I can make it to the premiere. That would be fantastic. We'll go do a ScuttleButt video for the premiere of the movie.
You will be with me. You drink, and I will be a driver.
Oh, okay. Sounds great. Thank you, Johnny, very much. Terry, thank you for being here today.
You're welcome.
Janelle, thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Is there anywhere people can find you if they are looking for more information from you or anything like that?
You can go on trinity-yoga.com is my yoga studio, and we have all kinds of stuff on there.
Great. Joselyne, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's been awesome. Look forward to being back.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, is there anything you want to plug or anywhere people can find you if they want more information?
Just Exist Tribe. Come check the website out and get your sleep node soon.
Awesome. And I want to thank Kristian for being here today. Kristian, thank you for joining us on the chat, being part of the panel. I know you're out there somewhere.
Really stoked to be here. Yeah, I'm out in the Rockies. Was able to find a clear signal. Appreciate the time. Really excited about what we got going on, and I'm available to open up collaborations and partnerships, sponsored. You know, we're rocking and rolling. I'm excited.
Awesome. Fantastic. And then Sadie, I want to thank you for being here today too and running this fantastic wheel, which I'm so glad we got to make that work and got to see on screen here, because you did a great job with that. And I appreciate the hard work.
Oh, you're very welcome. Happy to be here.
And I guess then, Rob, why don't you give the countdown to spin the wheel, and we will be giving away the grand prize, the Yoga Sleep Node prize.
All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll it.
Justin.
All right, Justin M.
Justin M. Is Justin M in the chat? Justin M. Justin M. Roger up. Let's get the grand prize to Roger up in the chat here. We'll give a minute for YouTube to catch up. Let's see. Where is it? Where's Justin M? Come on. We've got it. I'd love to have the winner in the chat here. Got some smiley face comments rolling into the chat. Come on. Justin. Where are you? You've won the grand prize, Justin. Where are you? We got to see you in the chat. The $400 Yoga Sleep Node grand prize to help you start getting better sleep. But where are you? Where are you in the chat?
Maybe he's sleeping.
I know.
We will accept that.
Well, so we do have. Do we happen to have full last names? Because Justin McGlasson is here, and is it him?
I think that's Justin
yes,
McGlasson.
there aren't any repeats for last names.
That's it, Justin.
So if he registered, it would be him.
Justin, did you register? If you registered, it's you. Just let us know. Did you register?
I think I see him in the chat.
Yep. His name is Justin DM Classroom. Is his Klassen, DM Klassen, or McClassen is his full last name. So if he just lets us know that that's him, then we will have our winner. Let's see. The suspense.
I can confirm. I just pulled up the Excel spreadsheet. I didn't want everyone to see everybody on there, but I can confirm.
That's it, Justin. Yes, that's it. We have our winner. We have our grand prize winner. So
Yay.
So what should the winners do to claim their prize? Should they email Rob? Should they email you?
I can go direct with Justin. Thanks for registering. Thanks for putting your email up there. I'll send you an email right now and go ahead and get some more information from you. So appreciate that, brother.
Wow, that is fantastic. To all of our winners, I hope that everybody who was on EventBrite who heard their name called, don't panic. I know Rob's going to reach out to you. This episode's recorded, available for playback on YouTube and on podcast at The ScuttleButt Show. I'd like to remind everybody before we go, take a second, subscribe to the channel, find a podcast for The ScuttleButt Show, the last military YouTube channel and podcast you ever have to subscribe to for great content like this. So anything, Rob, and you guys want to say before we close out?
We love you guys. We want you to live a better life. We want you to be the best version of yourself. We are truly here with the mission to make an impact in your life with sleep health. And so, did anybody else have anything they wanted to add?
Yeah, Rob, I believe in you, and you are good people. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. With all that, yes. With all that being said, thank you. Joselyne, Janel, Terry, Sadie, Kristian, Dr. Mishra, who had to go, Johnny Walker, legendary Johnny Walker, Rob Sweetman, founder, CEO of Exist Tribe. Thank you all very much. You're great. You all are welcome back on the show anytime. I hope we keep doing episodes like this. No worries. I hope we keep doing episodes like this more and more and more and getting the conversation going. With all that being said, thank you guys and everyone out there. I look forward to talking to you very soon. For now, that's the Scuttlebutt.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.